Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. Today we're going to have a little fun. We're going to do some sort of social experiment. Basically, there's this cleavage in the player base on the forums where a bunch of the players believe that you need skill points and that you need lots of them. There are some who will worship skill points so much that they believe that if you don't have at least 300 skill points, you cannot play this universe online. That's impossible. So, and there's the other group who believes that skill points don't really matter. Sure, if you have them, that's fine. But if you don't have them, don't worry about it. In the past, they could have been a bit important for weapon masteries, but not so much anymore. So as you saw, I'm only using skill points for super speed abilities, for my weapon, and for the focus. I took the focus about superpowers, which will give me 25% power regeneration. That's pretty much the only reason why I took that. Everything else, no skill points. And also I wanted to test out if you can actually really play using abilities like super speed abilities. Like if you want to recreate the Flash, but you don't want to recreate the Flash who throws a whole bunch of lightnings, can you do it? And the answer seems to be yes. So one of the apparently good things from this game update is that you should be able to recreate pretty much any characters you want, and you should be able to use pretty much any powers you want. In theory, that seems to be a good idea. And practice, I'm pretty sure it's not going to work. Because even if, let's say, using just super speed ability is a good option and is viable, I can pretty much guarantee that at some point players will ask for players to use the most optimal abilities ever. So at some point people will ask for certain abilities. Like if you play a Flash character, they will expect you to have at least a whole bunch of lightning powers, not just to use your fancy schmancy super speed abilities. So at some point, some loadouts will be more appear to be more powerful than others, and sadly, I can pretty much guarantee that people will expect players to use those loadouts, the most optimal loadouts, and if you don't, you're going to risk being caked, sadly. So far, what I could pretty much notice from playing this way is that, as you saw, mobs melt pretty quickly. These are mobs at my level, and I'm doing fine against those. I also played New Genesis and another solo. I forget the name, and I was doing fine. But I was a bit over. Technically, I should have been a bit over leveled, over geared for those missions. But for this one, this is pretty much at level. I remember the first time I did this mission, I think I was able to do it at 128 with my quantum character. But with my electric Saturn Knight, holy crap, at 128, I was getting I was getting beat up pretty bad. I had to come back when I was 131, I think, to be able to finally complete this mission with my Saturn Knight. And I'm pretty sure if I had done the mission at the time with an ice character, I would have been able to do it at combat rating 124. But here at 132, things are going fairly well. Although it's not a walk in the park, but it's not that difficult. If I'm just a bit careful, I'll be okay. So the boss was a bit more of a challenge than the mobs, which is normal. That's more or less how it should be. Although once in a while they will put these walls, especially sometimes at the start of a mission, like for sometimes for 8-player missions, they'll make a pretty tough fight right at the start to pretty much weed out people who have no business being there. So sometimes you'll start a mission and the whole group will wipe, and then half the people will decide to leave right there and then. And hopefully to be replaced by players who will be able to survive that first encounter. But often, very often when they do that, that's pretty much the end of it for the raid. So again, as you see, mobs, not really a problem, assuming you just get them a few at a time. Of course, if you pull half a dozen of them on your character, and then you might be in trouble. Ironically enough, I have an easier time playing right now with my alternate characters than I have with my main character. My main character is struggling a bit more than my Flash character or my Batman or my Superman character. I'm not sure why exactly. Apparently there is a bug concerning some OP item, some omnipotence item, and my main character has like 3 of them. So supposedly there's this bug where you don't get the stats from those items or something. So that might be why some missions are a little bit more difficult with my main character than they are with my Flash character. And of course, there's probably the powers that do play a role a bit. Some powers, no matter how much balancing they try to do, some powers will be a bit more powerful than others. It's sad, but that's how it is. So let's go find ourselves some evil Black Lanterns and beat the snot out of them. So again, as you can see, and I'm just using also again my super speed abilities. I have other characters that use electric, so I'll try electric powers with those characters. For the Flash, I think I'll stick to using my super speed ability. I'm getting I'm liking it a lot. I like it a lot. So again, as a rule of thumb, if people tell you that you need skill points to be able to play the game, uh, just say no. Does it help? Probably. It doesn't hurt to have 300 skill points as opposed to just 3 skill points. But if you don't have 300 skill points, you can play the game just fine. If you run into someone who insists that you need 300 skill points, don't listen to him. And also, if you go into a mission and the mission fails, and then people are try to blame that on skill points, I guarantee you that if the mission failed, skill points is probably the least of the reasons why. Very often, I'll see people who will blame skill points, or at some point, also people were blaming combat rating because a mission would fail. But then when you looked at what happened in the mission, you would see that people weren't doing the objectives, or people weren't picking up fallen players, or people just weren't doing a good job, weren't sticking together. Or the healer wasn't healing, or the controller wasn't controlling. Usually there's a lot more issues than skill points. So if a group really fails a mission, I guarantee you skill points is not the reason why. If you look carefully at the mission, you'll see that either some people aren't really doing what they're supposed to be doing, or people just aren't working together. So if people try to convince you that you need 300 skill points, just tell them no. And if you're going to a mission and the mission fails and people are trying to blame against skill points, just say no. And usually when that happens, just leave. Don't stick around with people who starts to point finger and are looking for an obvious scapegoat. That's a lose-lose situation. Just leave and try the mission with a bit later with another group. So that should be the last lantern we need. So let's go speak with our friend Monk. So let's go back to Oa with our friend Monk. So again, in here you will see that most of the mobs do fall down fairly quickly. Again, the big challenge will be Hal Jordan. And I remember the first time I played this mission. Holy crap! It was a lot harder than it is now. But now I kind of know what to do and what not to do. But even then, once in a while, it does prove a bit challenging. So for future videos, I will try to go through all the powers if I can. At least I will try to go through most of the powers as quickly as possible. I'll probably do a few weapons, although I'm not sure if I'll do them all. Basically, the weapons aren't that different from what they used to be. I'll probably test out weapon mastery with one of my characters. I have one or two characters that I plan to use weapon mastery with. So I'll probably do that. But one of my upcoming video will probably be about controllers. Basically, their controller role seems to be the one that changed the most with Game Update 73. The way the power over time works is completely different than what it used to be. So that alone will require its own video. So I'll probably make a new video about the power over time, seeing how it's fairly different than it used to be. And also I'll probably make a video about the controller role in general. So expect at least two videos just about the controller role, probably in the next few days. It depends how much time I'll have available. Sadly, I'm on vacation right now, and you would think that it would allow me to do more videos than usual, but sadly, I haven't really made any plans for my vacation. So I might decide to just stay home and do nothing, or I might decide to go for a few days. I haven't made up my mind just yet. So I'll expect a few videos. I expect quite a few videos about Game Update 76. There's a lot to say about this game update. There's a lot of things that will need to be tested out first. So before I can make a video about the gadget power or the ice power or the rage power, I'm gonna have to experiment with those at least a bit before I can come up with something worth talking about, I suppose. Because at this point, I'm pretty much on the same level as most of you guys. I'm relearning how the game works. I'm relearning how the power works, and I'm relearning what is a good option and what is a not so good option. But right now, one thing that is obvious by now is that same as before, skill points. Yes, if you have them, they help. But if you don't have them, it doesn't really matter. Again, if you succeed or fail in a mission, it will not be because of skill points. It may be because you didn't really know the mechanics. It may be that you don't understand exactly how to use your powers just yet. It may be that you're stuck with in a lousy group. It happens. Like if you're stuck in a very bad group, doesn't matter how many skill points you have. You're gonna die quick. Which was one of the reasons why some of us did not really want players to be nerfed with this game update. Is that if there are certain missions that if you try to do them, there are certain group missions that if you don't have a good group, there's no way you're going to be able to complete the mission. And one way sometimes to be able to bypass having a bad group was having gear. So if you were combat rating 190 and went into a mission that was, I don't know, a 180 mission, well, the odds of completing the mission were much better because you were overgeared for that mission and you could somewhat carry the group through. And so you had some good chances of being able to finish the mission. And now with the way things seems to be working, it's going to be a lot more challenging to carry a group with your character. And if you're stuck in a bad group, there's not much you're going to be able to do. So let's get rid of this little guy, and there we go. And now let's get rid of Hal Jordan. So we're almost there. Oh, a little too quick. So it wasn't too difficult. It wasn't a walk in the park to defeat Hal Jordan. But again, as you saw, it wasn't that difficult if you just avoid the evil black energy that Hal Jordan puts out. And if you take out his goons one at a time, there's no way you shouldn't be able to do it. Let's see what we got. Not sure what gloves I have right now. I guess we're gonna go for the mark of victory. So there you go, guys. So basically this was with 0 skill point assigned to my skills. All my skill points were assigned to my super speed and my weapon. So next time someone tells you that you need skill points to be able to play the game, tell them they're crazy and just keep on playing. So as you saw, I only took one focus, and pretty much everything else I didn't spend points in. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. So as always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye.